to another edition of Outliers Unlimited. Now, as you remember from our premiere video, I talked to you a little bit about what outliers are and who, and pretty much that is anyone, and a lot of them have dealt with a disability such as autism, dyslexia, Asperger's syndrome, you know, things along that nature. What I probably didn't tell you was, well, it can be very challenging going down the road, you know, finding out about their diagnosis, who they can be, that part of themselves. Not to mention learning how they can work with it and how to put this. There's a different form of education. You know, they have to learn how to work with their disabilities. There's a different learning process. And that's why I call this segment Outlier Education. Because every student with disabilities, or every outlier, has, how should we say this, has to have a different approach than typical learning. For example, some students require extended time on tests. People who are blind, you know, when they're writing papers or things they need to, or they're reading, they need to do with Braille. Therefore, they have to learn a different thought process than what's in everyday education. They have to have a different learning system. And that's exactly why I went down to the Student Center in Johnson County Community College, and I had an interview with a good friend of mine and a former counselor who has a wonderful responsibility and an even more incredible story to tell, Holly Dressler of Johnson County Community College. Her and several other counselors worked tirelessly to help their students reach their full potential and have the best accommodations to work at their best. Take a look at what she had to say. If you could please say your name for our viewers.
Holly Dressler.
And what is your occupation?
I am the program chair and an advisor within Access Services for students with disabilities at Johnson County Community College.
And how long have you been doing this?
I have been doing this, it'll be 25 years in December that I've been working here at JCCC. That's
an impressive record, 25 years. If don't mind me asking, what made you want to get into this? I mean, you know, everyone chooses, well, their long-lasting careers for a reason. What chose you, what drove you to want to take this kind of path in the job world?
I think the driving force was that my younger sister has a learning disability, and so as you know, growing up, seeing some of the struggles my sister had and what she had to go through in order to get access to different things in school and in college, it really piqued my interest. So when I was in grad school, I got an assistantship working at a program for students with learning disabilities. And once I did that, I knew that that's what I wanted to do.
It sounds like your family was a big influence on that.
Definitely.
Wow. And speaking of the services, what exactly are the services you provide to the students? Could you be a little more specific, please?
Sure. You know, I always want to start out by saying that all the services that we provide, or really any school provides, should be very individualized. So I can tell you some services that we provide, but it's always important to note that that doesn't mean, that's not an exhaustive list. We really try and focus on what it is that that student needs, and then figure out how we make that happen as long as it's a reasonable accommodation. But some more common things that we provide are note-taking assistance, so maybe a note taker in a classroom. A lot of students need some kind of accommodation in testing, so whether it's extended test time, testing in a less distractive environment, so like a private room or semi-private room, a reader for an exam, a scribe, those are all kind of some of the things that we do as far as testing goes. We also provide sign language interpreters for students.
Mhm.
We provide Braille handouts, audiobooks or alternate format textbooks. Those, I would say, are probably the more common accommodations we provide.
Sound like a wide variety already. Don't mind me asking, you said scribe. You use the word scribe. What does that mean, if I
A
may ask?
scribe is if you're taking a test, but you know that you have difficulty for whatever reason writing down the answer. You would dictate the answer to someone and somebody else would write it down for you.
Oh, I see. That's interesting. I thought a scribe was like how you scribe something with further detail.
Describe.
Something like that.
Right. That's good.
Thank you. Now, as helpful and as many services as you provide, I understand that you also provide something that is not directly from the council service, or maybe it is. I don't know. I understand that you also provide something called tips for incoming students.
Yes, there is a program called TIPS that's transitioned into post-secondary studies, and it was started within our department by Charlotte Walker many years ago, probably 11 or 12 years ago at this point. And the program has actually moved into the Learning Strategies program, and I think actually they have a new name for that now. So it's actually a credit course that's offered through the college learning program. But it was started for high school seniors who have a disability and might need just a little extra help in that transition to college. So we from the college would kind of pull the student, the high school would push the student a little bit, and the student as a senior comes to campus 5 days a week, and
5 days a week.
or 4 days a week, I guess it is.
Forgive me, I remember doing that, and I
4
didn't
days
even
a
do it
week.
4 days a week.
I think that sometimes students come back an extra day though for help in the Academic Achievement Center and things like that. But they
that makes
focus
sense.
on, it's a credit class and they focus on learning strategies. So how to go about taking notes in class, tips for studying for exams, all that. And then also just information that students need to know in that transition to college. So we go and visit with the students about using accommodations in college, but they have a lot of speakers that come and just talk to them about general information about the transition to college.
Could you give us an example of some of the speakers?
So, like I said, Access Services always comes and speaks to them. They have professors who come and talk about expectations in the classroom.
That makes sense.
They have counselors who come and talk to them about choosing a major, how to enroll in classes. We have folks who talk to them and give them just a general orientation to the college.
Might we be looking at one of those counselors in particular at this moment?
Maybe.
I wonder if maybe you had maybe been involved in that as well.
I have. They usually try and get though an academic counselor, so I'm more of Access Services counseling.
I see. That makes
and also,
sense.
Career Services talks to the students about the career transition, but also they do the strengths assessment as well, so students learn what their strengths are and how to use them in a variety of ways.
That's a little bit covered in tips. I remember. That's kind of like when they learn their different the strengths and the weaknesses based on their personalities. I remember that test.
Good.
Let's see. Is there anything else specific or something you'd like to say to our viewers?
I can't think of anything else specific other than, that transition to college can be a really big one and a really challenging one. And I know there are a lot of students who use services in high school that sometimes think, I don't want to use anything in college. And I guess my words of wisdom are, whether you think you're going to use services or not, come in and visit with the office that coordinates services in college, because students really need to know what's available. And as a student, you're in the driver's seat. You can choose what you want to use or what you don't want to use. And so I just encourage them to come in and at least have that conversation with the office on campus.
Well said. Thank you, Holly Dressler.
You're so welcome.
Quite a rooting story, isn't it? I have to be honest. I'm the one who gave the interview, and I'm still pretty speechless. As you can see, Holly Dressler is quite the role model for youth with disabilities attending Johnson County Community College. Her, Karen Miller, and many other counselors work to no ends to help their students get the best education they possibly can and get the resources they need to work at their best. And they have nothing but my support. In fact, I want to give a special shout out to Karen Miller, who was a very big help and aid throughout a kind of a rough semester recently. So thank you, Karen. I am very grateful. And to Holly especially, I want to say thank you for agreeing to the interview. And you have my eternal thanks for the help you gave me when I was in Johnson County Community and for the help you'll offer to many future students. The point of the interview, and the point I bring with the education, is the fact that everyone has a different form of learning. And, well, you know, we learn everywhere. We learn in the home environment, we learn in school, and we learn at, how should we say this, with people who give private sessions, like, you know, music teachers, when we're getting martial arts lessons. We have different forms of education, and that applies a great deal to outliers. However, the home, school, and extracurricular environment are very key. All play a big influence on who people grow up to be. And the school is a very major influence on a person. And fortunately, at least as far as counselors are concerned, to my knowledge, and some teachers, at least when I was going, Johnson County Community College does in fact show great concern and great progress for helping young minds shape the world. And I have nothing to say except thank you. And please continue the good work. And please continue watching. If you want to see more, feel free to hit the subscribe button or leave a comment about something you didn't like. Tell your friends, you know, anyone you know who might want to learn more about youth with disabilities, and maybe this can help them get a little, you know, encouragement, a little education in the field. Feel free to leave any comment. We'll be happy to answer. And we'll be seeing you here only at Outliers Unlimited.